Okay, in this lesson we're going to take a look at the major scales, and it's just really a brief overview of major scales, and in part 2 we'll actually play some of the major scales. So here's an overview of the major scales. It's going to take a while before you understand what scales are which and the key signature. So I wouldn't memorize this at this point. Just get familiar with this. For example, the key of C major has no sharps or flats. We know that it's a natural key. The scale of D major has two sharps, which are F and C. And then we have the key of B major, which has two flats, B and E. You'll never have a key that has sharps and flats. It's either sharps or flats, and the only scale that has no sharps or flats is C major. So, take a look at this from time to time and just get familiar with it. But there's an easy way to memorize the major scales, and that's using the circle of fifths, which we'll look at later. Okay, scale degree names. Just quickly go over this. This is good to be familiar with. Don't have to memorize it. If we are in the key of C major, and C being the first of that scale, the C is known as the tonic. D, which is the next note in the scale of C major, which is the second degree, is also known as the supertonic, and so on. The third of the scale degree, which is E, is known as the median. Okay, and the last note in the key of C major is the seventh, which is B, and that's known as the leading tone. And then after B, we come back to C. We come full circle. So, it's good to know that, be familiar with these names, so that when you're speaking to someone about music theory, you're reading up something on music theory, you know that the fifth is the dominant in the scale, whichever scale you're in, depending upon what you're starting at. In music theory, the circle of fifths, or the circle of fourths, shows the relationships among the 12 tones of the chromatic scale, the corresponding key signatures, and the associated major and minor keys. In this lesson, we're just going to focus on the major keys. And here's the circle of fifths. Now, if you go to recordinghomeaudio.com and do a search on articles, or just search for circle of fifths, you will find this in a PDF, and you can print it out, and you could use it as a tool to memorize when you're playing. Okay, so just briefly, let's go over this. The key of C major has no sharps or flats. The key of G major has one sharp, which is F. Going this way, we're going flat. The key of F major has one flat, which is B. B flat major has two flats, which is B and E. And you can see how the pattern goes down: B, E, B, E, A, B, E, A, D. And going this way, F, F, C, F, C, G, F, C, G, D. So if we were in the scale of, let's say, B major, in B major we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 flats. I'm sorry, 5 sharps: F, C, G, D, and A. Okay, and we'll talk about key signatures and identifying key signatures in part 2. Okay, F sharp has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and C sharp, looking over here, has 7. All of the notes in C sharp are sharp. Okay, and if you look at C flat, C sharp, and C, they're all extreme keys, meaning the key of C has no sharps or flats. The key of C flat major has 7 sharps, 7 flats. The key of C sharp major has 7 sharps. And the reason why it's 7 and not 8 is because after B, we repeat in the scale. We come back to the tonic. So become familiar with this, and when someone you're playing a song or playing in a band or creating some recording, and you're in the key of, let's say, A flat, we know that the notes of the lead instrument or the vocal will have 4 flats in it: B, E, A, and D. Now, in music, you can modulate, and there's all different sets of rules, but if we're just talking about the tonic major scale, this is what they consist of. So if you look at the next lesson, part 2, you'll get a better understanding, because we're actually going to play some of these.